What was ruined for everybody by one person? That guy who attempted a shoe bomb back in 2001 on the flight from France to Miami. Now we all have to suffer taking our shoes off at airport security every damn time we fly. Back in the Middle Ages, when I was a child in Detroit, the electric company gave out free light bulbs. You kept the burnt out ones in a bag, and when it was full, Dad would take it to Detroit Edison and exchange them for free ones. Then some guy who owned a store, I remembered it as a pharmacy, sued because he couldn't sell light bulbs, and that was the end of free light bulbs. The Marm whale, the only taxidermied blue whale in existence. Visitors used to be allowed to walk inside it. It was closed after a couple got caught having sex in there. Ethan Zuckerman, the guy who invented pop-up ads, ruined everyone's internet experience with them. He even apologized later on for creating them. On Halloween, 1974, an 8-year-old boy named Timothy O'Brien died. His candy had, indeed, been poisoned. A few days prior, his father, Ronald Clark O'Brien, took out a $40,000 life insurance policy on Timothy and Timothy's sister, Elizabeth, then age 5, as an unimaginable way to get out of debt. The only way to collect required that at least one of his children die, so the elder O'Brien laced some pixie sticks with cyanide and cajoled his son into eating one before bed. This is the source of the dangerous Halloween candy myth. The kid who jumped off of 7th floor of a building here in Turkey because he thought he was a Pokemon. They stopped airing the show because people thought it was bad influence on kids. And Pokemon was huge back when I was a kid, so pretty much every kid back then was devastated. That fucker who tried to take explosives on a plane by storing them in containers for liquids. I can deal with taking my shoes off. I fucking hate having to buy travel miniatures or decant stuff into smaller containers that I then jam into some tiny plastic see-through bag that has to be put through the scanner separately. Makes hand luggage only flights such a pain in the fucking ass. Brewer's request. Per the New York Times, he asked for 2 chicken fried steaks with gravy and sliced onions, a triple patty bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelette with ground beef, tomatoes, onions, bell peppers and jalapenos, a bowl of fried okra with ketchup, 1 pound of barbecued meat with half a loaf of white bread, 3 fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, 1 pint of Bluebell ice cream, a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts, and 3 root beers. The state provided him with this meal, costing hundreds of dollars and consisting of thousands of calories. Brewer, claiming he was not very hungry, ate exactly none of it. The next day, state legislators asked the Department of Criminal Justice to end the tradition of last meals. One lawmaker stated, "It is extremely inappropriate to give a person sentenced to death such a privilege. It's a privilege which the perpetrator did not provide to their victim." The Department of Criminal Justice chairperson agreed, and the tradition ended. Since then, per the Houston Chronicle, last meals will consist of whatever is on the menu for all prisoners, with no special adjustments for those about to be executed. Spoiler warning if you haven't read the Harry Potter books. The weekend the 6th Harry Potter book came out, a friend from university went to a music festival where there was, unsurprisingly, a massive viewing screen. Scrolling along the bottom was CNN-style messages that people could text direct to the screen. My friend, a notorious practical joker, texted "Snape kills Dumbledore," and moments later, it rolled across the screen. By all accounts, the collective scream of horror was a thing to behold. One of my father-in-law's co-workers supposedly ruined a pretty sweet perk for everyone. My father-in-law's a pilot for a large airline, and whenever they have to overnight away from their home base, the airline will put them up in a hotel. One of the hotel chains they use would give the airline crew a gift card for the hotel restaurant for each night they stayed there, valued at something like $5 or $10. After a few years of this, one of the pilots rented the restaurant of his local hotel for a wedding or some other kind of family gathering. After everyone had eaten well, and it was time to pay the bill, he pulled out a huge stack of those $5 gift cards and paid the whole bill in full. A few days later, everyone at the company was informed that they would no longer receive gift cards when staying at that hotel chain. Vaccines. Drive. Former Andrew Wakefield, may his name go down in infamy, Wakefield study and his claim that the MMR vaccine might cause autism led to a decline in vaccination rates in the United States, United Kingdom and Ireland, and a corresponding rise in measles and mumps, resulting in serious illness and deaths, and his continued warnings against the vaccine have contributed to a climate of distrust of all vaccines and the re-emergence of other previously controlled diseases. In my first 2 years of high school we were actually allowed to bring water or juice into class with us to drink. Then, in junior year, some ass decides to bring in a thermos of peppermint schnapps, somehow not thinking that everyone in the room can smell it. Drinks were banned after that. The kid at Pizza Hut who, while at the all-you-can-eat dessert bar, scooped chocolate mousse onto his plate, licked the serving spoon clean, and then returned it straight into the mousse bowl. It was 20 plus years ago, but that little fucker ruined the night for everyone at my table. Edit. Good to know I'm not the only one to feel so strongly about this traumatic incident. This is local. There is a company that owns several hospitals in my area. They used to feed us, the ambulance crews, for free when we were on shift. You could eat at the cafeteria or take a sandwich to go, or whatever. It was decent food, and hey, you're saving money, right? Well, one guy started coming in with his uniform on when he was off work, and grabbing sandwiches and chips and drinks, you name it. Lots of it. Basically grocery shopping in the hospital cafeteria, and taking it home with him. Needless to say, the hospital decided it wasn't going to supply us with food for our off days, so they stopped it altogether. I'll never understand why people will ruin a good thing. Vacation at my work. We used to be able to roll over vacation and sell it, but now we can't do either. One guy misused his company credit card, and they told him that he was going to have to pay for it. To pay them back, he just sold a bunch of his rolled over vacation. The next week everyone got a memo about the new vacation policies. Being in college at the time, real Four Locos. Some girl out in eastern Washington state decided to drink something like 2 Four Locos, 6 tequila shots, and funnel a bunch of beers. She died of alcohol poisoning. They still make Four Locos since the caffeine, which are less fun. In college, my buddy threw a party with his roommates at their brand new condo. This place was really nice, and they got a great deal. We were warned about 2 things. To be extra careful inside because of the white carpet, and that they had a 3-strike rule that if you had 3 party fouls, you're out. Some dude had 3 that very night. 1. Spilled beer on the white carpet. 2. Vomited on the white carpet. 3. Passed out on beer barn table and destroyed it. Everyone was asked to leave after that, and I don't blame them. Lee Harvey Oswald ruined presidential parades. Was at a Marilyn Manson concert a few years ago. It was a few days after he collapsed on stage in Saskatchewan. My friend and I went to Vancouver for the concert, and we were there about 4 or 5 hours beforehand. We wandered around the building and found out that the venue we were at didn't have a parking garage, meaning his tour bus was in plain view. So a couple hours pass, and we are standing/sitting around, and a small crowd of like 10 or 15 people hoping to get to see him up close and maybe get an autograph. I've done this before, works like 65% of the time. Lots of peeps dudes/dudettes came and went, but my friend and a few other peeps others stayed. Finally, about 2 hours before the concert, he comes out of his tour bus with a couple bodyguards. He stops for a secretary, and my friend and I collectively almost piss ourselves. Not 5 seconds later, a doucher bag grunty little bastard comes running up with a big fancy paparazzi camera and asks, "How are you feeling, Manson?" in the most dickish condescending voice I've ever heard, and tries to go after him. Cue a bunch more security come rushing out, surround Manson and rush him into the building. 3 hours waiting, just for one little prick to ruin everything. He took off pretty quickly right after. The tourist who fell off of El Castillo in Chichen Itza in 2006. Now people are not allowed to climb the pyramid. The back pass rule in soccer. The back pass rule prohibits the goalkeeper from handling the ball when a teammate has deliberately kicked the ball to him, or handling the ball directly from a teammate's throw-in. A general rethink about the laws of the game had been promoted by the negativity of the 1990 World Cup, and, in particular, one passage of play in the group match between the Republic of Ireland and Egypt in which the Irish keeper Packy Bonner held the ball for almost 6 minutes without releasing it.